All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals in today's video. Feels great talking about this team. 3-4 here, winning a couple of games. I don't care. I'll double down here. The Cincinnati Bengals to me are still easily a playoff team. Like, actually extremely easily a playoff team. And you're 3-4, but the most important part is the last two games defensively have been very, very impressive. Now, I get it. They've beaten Carolina, the New York Giants, and the Cleveland Browns, but wins are wins, man. And I'm old enough to remember, like, especially since the season switched from 16 to 17, the 3-4 record, you got a really nice matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming weekend, and then you've got the Raiders, and then you got Baltimore. And if they're 5-4 heading into that Baltimore Ravens game, I mean, I still just you can lose 6 games, you can lose 7 games and still make the playoffs. All I want Cincinnati to do is literally make the playoffs. And what's been weird is the last 2 weeks, the defense has been playing phenomenal. The offense has been horrible. I mean, outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, the offense has been catastrophically bad. But nobody's worried about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's having a phenomenal season. I think somebody said it on ESPN a day or so ago, like if Cincinnati was like 4-2 instead of 2-4 before this football game, Joe Burrow would be, top 3 MVP candidate. And I completely agree. And I'm kind of a homer for Cincinnati. I just really like this team. I think you're really I'm sick of Ravens hype, to be honest with you guys. I feel like Joe Burrow is just the kryptonite to Patrick Mahomes, and I just really want to see him do the deed in the postseason. We can't talk today, all right? But welcome back to the channel. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. We post at least one Bengals video every single week. If we try and get this video to 200 likes, folks, that would mean the world to me. Really weird game. Charlie Jones gets it off to an absolute bang. 100-yard kick return to open up that football game. But then there were no points scored. And Deshaun Watson ended up tearing his Achilles, and they ripped 3 different quarterbacks in that entire football game. And they just traded away wide receiver number 1 in Amari Cooper. But I don't care. I'm not concerned. It's a divisional game. We're going to get to some fun statistics about Cincinnati versus Cleveland here. I think this was your first win in Cleveland since like 7 years, 5 years, something like that. So the Bengals went into halftime with as many punts as first downs. They're 0-3 on third down, and that's got to get cleared up immediately. Jamar Chase was the leading rusher at halftime with 1 carry for 11 yards. They only had 86 total yards before halftime. And it's weird, man. They have now posted 100 yards or fewer before halftime 11 times since the start of the 2021 season. 4 of the 11 games have been against the Cleveland Browns. It's crazy. It really is. But it's really becoming this reoccurring theme no matter what season it is, where I'm watching a Bengals game, and for some weird reason, the first half, they can't get anything going. They can't get anything going. I do not understand it. I've got the best wide receiver duo in the National Football League, and I got one of the best QBs in the National Football League. But it's a long season. We're not even halfway there, and I still feel really good about Joe Burrow and his weapons. And if this defense can pick up the slack now that their defensive line specifically is getting healthier and healthier, I still feel good. They finished a measly 2 of 11 on third down. The running backs averaged 2.4 yards per carry. Joe Burrow was sacked 3 times. Cleveland does have a respectable defense. But, dude, like, what's going on with Zach Moss? Now, thankfully, you got Chase Brown in your back pocket, and he's kind of emerging as the clear-cut RB1 in Cincinnati. But what's going on with Zach Moss, man? I was so hopeful for him heading into this season. After halftime, however, a game of 2 halves, Joe Burrow led touchdown drives of 65 and 50 in the third quarter. Each ended with touchdown passes to both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He threw for only 181 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, which brings his total up to 14 touchdowns and only 2 picks. So if they weren't 3-4, he'd be an MVP candidate, but I'm not going to sit here and play what if all day. Once again, they've beaten the Panthers, Giants, and Browns. I understand it, but Joe's having one of his best seasons. His expected points added per dropback this season, 0.16. That's the best in his entire NFL career. On plays with a passing attempt, the Bengals' EPA is at 67.78, which is the second best in the league. But yeah, you know what? There's a caveat to it. The 3 wins Four wins combined. It's not scaring the NFL, but they are experimenting in a kind of weird fashion this season, and it's really worked out well. They rank second in the NFL in previous 3 seasons using 11 personnel, which is one running back, one tight end, and 3 wide receivers. This year, oddly enough, they've shifted to 2 tight ends, 12 personnel. And this is important because your offensive line is decimated. People don't understand this. A couple of weeks ago, man, this Bengals offensive line and defensive line, like there's nobody healthy. It feels like there's literally nobody healthy. They ranked fifth in the league at 29%, and they currently rank 10 in yards per play, yards per carry, and passer rating when in 12 personnel. So it's been really nice. But a weird trend the last 2 weeks is this. Non-T. Higgins and Jamar Chase receivers and tight ends. Against New York, only 4 catches for 46 yards. Against Cleveland, even worse, 1 catch for 2 yards. I think that was Mike Gesicki. And Higgins and Chase, but they've been feasting. In New York, that duo combined 12 catches, 149 yards, a couple of touchdowns. At Cleveland, 9 catches, 137 yards, a couple of touchdowns. But the Bengals in their last 24 drives only have 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns in their last 24 drives. So it's not perfect, but once again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm worried about Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow as my offense. I'm not going to sit here and concern myself about that because I think it's stupid. And we all know Joe Burrow gets better as the weather gets colder in general. And I do think that running game, that running back duo will get better as time goes on once these games start getting a little bit colder. The defense, most importantly, it's just 2 straight good games. I don't care if you're going up against Cleveland. I don't care if you're going up against Danny Dimes and the New York Giants. I don't really care because you're supposed to take care of business with teams like that, and that's exactly what they've done, all right? The big issue for Cleveland in the first 5 weeks of the regular season was their defense. They're giving up 30 points left and right. They should have won that Ravens game. That game still pisses me off. They should have won that Chiefs game. That game still pisses me off. Once again, not here to play what if, but what if the Bengals were 5-2, right? Joe Burrow would be MVP. I guess Lamar's playing well, but that win over the Ravens. What if? I'm not playing what ifs. Trey Hendrickson's been a huge reason, especially with this defensive line getting healthier and healthier. Cam Sample being done for the season certainly sucks, but that's why you got guys like Chris Jenkins that you drafted. That's why you still have Miles Murphy, who's working himself back from that injury. But it's just 2 straight good defensive games. Trey Hendrickson's been one of the hugest reasons why. He recorded 9 quarterback pressures, finished the game with 2 sacks, a 23.4 pass rush win rate, one of the most underrated, slept-on edge rushers in the entire National Football League. Sam Hubbard had a nice sack. Sheldon Rankins had a nice sack. They sacked the Cleveland quarterback 4 total times. They had a nice interception. They had a nice forced fumble. They had 2 nice interceptions. Like, it was 2 straight good defensive games, and that's why I'm excited about this Bengals team moving forward because it's 2 very winnable games. Big test against Philly this upcoming weekend. Stay tuned. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button. And give me your thoughts about this 3-4 Cincinnati Bengals team down below. Peace.